time.
Welcome to Tampa, Florida, and welcome to the 1997 Sam's Club Year Beginning meeting. Let's get this meeting started.
Good morning. We'll let everybody get a seat. How do you feel about being in Tampa this morning? We've got a great meeting for you. We're going to have a grand next 3 days. You're going to have a lot of fun. We're actually going to learn a lot the next 3 days, and we're really looking forward to it.
This is my first opportunity to introduce an executive for a speech with our year beginning meeting. And in my 10-plus years with Sam's, I've had an opportunity to study and learn from many of the best in our industry. In the last 2 days, we've had several great presentations, many of them regarding leadership skills. And as I studied my list last night, I noticed I had 12 or 15 bullet points that directly related to leadership skills. And as I read through that list, I saw examples such as creating a vision, communication, integrity, respect for the individual, servant leadership, teamwork as examples. And a smile broke out across my face because I know a man who practices and lives these every single day. And I think 1996 demonstrates this individual's ability to lead an organization to success. And it's my pleasure this morning to ask you to welcome, Sam style, our President and CEO, Joe Harden.
Thanks, Frank. I appreciate that.
And that's what we ended up with last year on the road to success, a cobblestone road that led off into the horizon, and we talked about success being measured in terms of results, not activities. And as we begin 1997, there isn't any doubt, there can't be any doubt, that we have made progress. We have improved sales, particularly in the last 6 months of the year, due to some of our promotional activities, but due principally to the fact that we have a significantly better stock assortment to offer to our member in the last 6 months of 96 that we did in 95. Would you all agree with that? There's the road to success. And as you look up there on the horizon, we really don't have the ability to see over that as well as we should. But I'll tell you, as you look over that horizon, just behind success, there's a whole lot of alternatives out there for us as a company. And our road to success can go left, it can go right, it can make a broad turn, a narrow turn. There's a lot of different opportunities out there for the road to change. There's a lot of opportunities for the road to take a wrong direction. And what we've done is we've developed 5 long-term strategies that are designed to help us and to function as a roadmap for this company. And these 5 long-term strategies create a boundary for our road so that we can't go too far to the left or we can't go too far to the right. What I'd like to do for the next few minutes is take you all through all 5 of the strategies that we have developed and try and give you an understanding of each one of the strategies and then show you some of the tactics, show you some of the different projects that we are working on today and highlight some of the processes that we continue to change and evolve that all play into our 5 strategies. Because in the final analysis, if we have the right long-term strategies for Sam's Club, then any and everything we do day in and day out, today and in the future, we should be able to reference back to those 5 strategies. And if we're able to do that, then we in fact will be sure that as we take our journey down the road to success, the road is pointed in the right direction. Let me go through the first strategy with you. Develop an ongoing capability to match member demographics and purchase behavior with merchandise execution. We were working with consultants. This just simply says be able to know who your members are and know what they buy from you.
So let me share with you some of the key findings that we had. We had really two key findings, and the first one was we have been able to define our profile member. And what we found is that in age group classifications, the baby boomer and the older adults make up most of our members. Baby boomers are projected to inherit $10.4 trillion. So they have income and money to spend. Yeah. You'd like some of that $10.4 trillion, huh? I would too. Median household income, $55,000. They're focused on family and home. They're focused on prestige and value. Some other factors, they account for 53% of the internet users. They're the biggest spenders on books, non-business computers and entertainment, and they have diverse food interests. Well, what about the older adult group? Their median household income is $38,000. They're in their peak earning years. Many of them have children at home, and they tend to be free and easy spenders. They tend to be materialistic and label conscious. Well, the key opportunity here is that what we need to do in our acquisition efforts is reflect the values and trends of the folks who see the most use out of the Sam's Club organization. But our biggest opportunity is to go after another age group, and that's age group 25 to 34. Because if we can hook them earlier, then we've got a longer lifespan cycle with them as members in our organization. So we need to focus on that other grouping to turn them into loyal members. Well, our second learning is, what's a loyal member of Sam's Club look like? A loyal member profile is someone who actually shops across the club, not just in one category, and probably not in all categories, but they shop across the club. So we have an opportunity to get them to shop even broader. They have children. They live within a 9-mile radius of the club, so they live close by. Household income is $55,000, and they are homeowners.
Strategy 2, we have to consistently market to our members and communicate to our partners and our vendors who we are and what we stand for as related to product mix and services. Really, really, really important. I mean, we have to understand who we are and who we want to be, and our assortment has got to reflect exactly what we think we are and what we stand for. And then the key in this thing is that we have to develop a consistent message that emphasizes the value of a Sam's Club membership. That consistent message has got to go to the member and to our vendors, and we've got to make sure that we understand it and can communicate it to our partners.
One of our key learnings here is points of entry. One of the things that we learned in our research is there are certain times where members have a greater need for a wholesale club concept. And those times are when they become new homeowners. They have more needs, more storage, and they may be a club shopper from another market. When they have new families, they have more bulk needs. Teenage children, they eat a lot and they bring their friends to eat along. Organizational buying, which is churches, schools, and holidays. Bulk items for entertaining, and gifts. These are key points at which members decide to come shop the Sam's Club or the club. But now what we need to do with our marketing strategy is understand the feelings and attitudes that will attract prospective members into the club facility. And that's what strategy 2 is all about. It's to build a brand platform. Well, what's a brand platform? Because I'm not talking about brand names. I'm talking about a platform that, what does the member think of when they associate a wholesale club or Sam's Club? Well, branding is the process of incorporating the values of our members into who we are and what we stand for. And if we can be the first to establish a brand platform in our concept, we can leapfrog Price Costco. But probably the best way for me to describe branding to you is give you a few examples. Okay. Tell me, this is the human reasoning. Choosy mothers choose what? Jeff, all right. The features and products and functions is fresh peanut taste, but you got you got it on the human reasoning level. Let me give you another one. To boldly go where no man has gone before. Star Trek, all right. I thought maybe I'd get more of you who knew that one. Okay, Starship Enterprise is the feature and function. How about my last one? Come see the softer side of Sears. Man, you got that. Now look at the transformation Sears has made, folks. They have really focused on fashion and a different image in their stores. And you look at their numbers, and they are turning around. But you knew exactly who I was talking about. That's what we've got to do for Sam's Club. When we can do that for Sam's Club, they'll come to us first. That's what branding is all about.
I would tell you then the third one, expand our assortment outside of the building while tailoring by club the merchandise and services within the club to maximize sales. And what this strategy really does, you can break it down into two sub-strategies. The first one is inside the box, and the second sub-strategy is outside the box. And under this particular strategy within the box, if you look at some of the tactics that we're working on, a dynamic assortment. Well, what does that mean?
And what we're doing is we've recently promoted Adam DaCosta to a general merchandise manager, so we'll now have 4 GMMs. And I think you've got this in some of your mail. But this kind of shows what the reasoning was behind all this. And what we want is really the GMMs are the ones that drive the business, and they're the leaders in the merchandise department. I have the benefit of getting to see the results and getting to coach, and not really even coach, because I just really love to sit back and watch to see these guys develop and what they're doing. But they're the ones that are driving the merchandise department. And what we decided to do is it made sense to me and a few of the other people that what we should do is let them control their part of the box. If the building is a big box, let them control it. And so what we've got Adam that's going to merchandise and manage the area that's all around the perimeter of the store. Dwayne Wilson, who has a great background in dry grocery, is going to assume all the dry grocery area. Eddie Frail is going to merchandise the entire center section of the club. And Brad Thompson will take what we call the general merchandise, the hard lines merchandise part of the club. And this is the reason behind this.
The other side of strategy 3 is outside the box. And we talked a little bit about internet and the job that Marcus is doing. And this is something that is going to grow, and we will be there. We are technologically positioned to take advantage of whatever happens, and that's a good thing to have in a strategy. Strategy number 4, it's simplified process for organizational excellence and member service. This strategy encompasses the entire effort of Next Level. And what are we going to change? What are we going to improve in order to take the lead?
And as you remember back in August, or as the general managers remember back in August, we talked about striving to take the organization, and the Olympics were going on right then, and we talked about going for the gold. And really what we're going to go back and talk about today is going to the next level. And let's give a little bit of a definition of what the next level is. What this really is, as we look at the next level, it's a method for which we clearly define job responsibilities and also standardize expectations for all key management functions in the club. As we talked about earlier, you cannot just be a good merchant. You can't just be a fair operator. You have to always strive for excellence. It's important that you do that. And again, going for the next level. Let's talk about a few things that as we look at this organizational excellence. To achieve this, again, we need to select our teams, define clear, realistic expectations for all levels, help set consistent standards, and as we do that, we will teach and develop people to those standards, and if we've done all of those very well, then we can come back and we can actually hold people accountable for that. Why is it important for you to understand clearly what those expectations are? I think it's pretty basic, but I'll walk you through a few. Again, you can't execute if you don't understand what our plan is, right? It's very difficult to do that. Also, when we successfully execute our plans, it gives us a competitive edge.
The last strategy is development and execute a comprehensive capital deployment plan for new clubs, remodels, and relocations that blocks our competitors while maximizing our return on investment. But let's break that down into its pieces, because it's easier. Well, it's not easier, but it's a little bit simpler than it sounds. Blocking, that just simply says that what we've done is we've taken a map of the United States, and we have a group of people within Sam's Club now in the corporate office that are working on site selection and development with our real estate team. We're not leaving it up to real estate to decide our future anymore. We're gonna manage it from within Sam's Club, and they're gonna help us. So what we're doing is we're taking everything that Price Costco does, and we haven't really got to BJ's yet, Dana, but I got your message. But we're taking everything they're doing. We're looking at where they put new clubs. We're looking at where they do their relocations. We're looking at where they're doing their remodels. And we're trying to make sure we understand what it is they're doing and where they're moving. What are the patterns that they establish? And then based upon that, we're going to get out in front of that, working with the real estate department, and we will either relocate, remodel, or we will select new clubs that will block what it is they're doing. And I would tell you that this is a really, really important strategy for us. And I think, particularly in the long term, we're not going to look up 2 years from now and say, gosh, we gave them that market, or we didn't really understand what was going on, or we didn't give it a high enough priority, because we are focused on it and we are studying what they do so that we can do a better job. And then, as I mentioned, the second part of that is just simply to understand what they're doing and then move to negate it. The second part of this strategy is growth. And this speaks to what David talked about. And that is, as we look at this, is to seek out new high-volume club locations. We spent a lot of time, this group that's managing site selection for us, asking the DOs for your opinions and your thoughts on where we could put new clubs that would open at significant volumes. One of the things that we saw the other day when we did an analysis at the real estate committee meeting of the clubs and the stores that opened in 1995, Sam's Club had the lowest return of all the clubs or stores that were opened in 1995. We've got to make sure that that doesn't happen as we move forward, and that we're opening the very best club sites that we can. Relocation, we have some wonderful examples of relocations this year where we've gone in and relocated clubs, and we're running up 25 and 26%. And we are going to continue to look at relocating more clubs as we move through 1997 and beyond, as a very positive strategy. But when you relocate a club and put all that money into it, you've got to get a return for it. You've got to get the results for that activity. We have remodeled a lot of clubs. Last year, we've got more clubs we're going to be remodeling for fresh and new services this year. This same site selection and development group is working with real estate, and they're going through every single club in our chain, and we are going to develop a capital needs for every club in the chain, and then we'll be able to go back against a plan that says here's what we need to get done in these clubs, and we'll be able to do that to the degree that we continue to improve our profits and the company gives us more money. You know, in 1995, Jim, we had maybe $10 million to remodel our clubs. Last year in 1996, the company gave us $33 million to remodel our clubs. And I'm pleased to tell you that in 1997, based on your performance, based upon results, we've gotten $100 million to remodel our clubs. And we will spend, between remodels and relocations and new clubs, over $225 million we have available to us in 1997. We will continue to test the mini club concept. We've got a couple opening this year, and we'll have another one that'll open next year. And we have to see if there is a good positioning within our overall real estate strategy for our mini clubs. Our outlot strategy really talks about gas stations and other things that we can do on some of those massive parking lots that we have, so that we can take asphalt and rent and turn it into some kind of income by maybe renting that space out to a business that would reinforce what we're doing and help lower our costs at the same time. And then the last part of this strategy is what we call the market strategy or the market approach, because within this $100 million that we're going to spend to remodel any number of clubs with fresh departments and paint the ceilings and relamp the clubs, we are going to take selected markets and we are going to go into those markets and make sure that every single club in that market in the course of 1997 is either remodeled or re-merchandised, that we pull out all of the old goods, that we go in and take some additional marketing and membership techniques that we learned in Atlanta and apply it to that market. So that into the market approach, which is part of our overall strategy and capital deployment plan, we will make certain markets look very much like Atlanta. It's a very concentrated effort within our overall plan, and in these markets, we'll be able to drive increased sales, able to send a message to Costco that you don't want to come in here just like you didn't want to come into Atlanta.
We've just begun. I am more excited about the prospects for our company looking ahead of us than anything we've achieved in the past. If it took 17 years to go from 0 to $1 billion in sales, and then in the next 17 years, we went from 1 billion to 104 billion, what could we do in the next 17 years? It is simply up to each and every one of us. It's not up to me, it's up to all of you. And if you want to raise the bar and forget about comparing with last year, unless you all are so proud of this year that you can hardly stand it. I'm proud of this year, but I know where you could be if you want it and if you're willing to do what it takes to get it. All of us in the company, on behalf of everybody in the company, we are unbelievably proud of what this division has accomplished this year. You have set a great example for the company on what can be done. I applaud you. I admire you. I'm proud of you, but I am unbelievably excited about what I know you are going to do this next year. Thank you very much.
I've had the opportunity this last few months to be exposed to a lot of different people that have leadership, and one of them was a guy named Jack Welch. And Jack Welch, I think some of you may know, is the CEO of GE Corporation. And a few months ago, I know you and Joe were able to attend that meeting, but he came in and visited with us, and I think he was recently named the top chief executive officer in the country by several magazines, by one of the largest corporations in the world. I'm not sure that GE is not actually the most profitable corporation in the entire United States, but he has a nickname of Neutron Jack. And the reason why he got that nickname is because he manages with a pretty strong fist, but he also manages very well a huge organization. So while he was coming into our office, he was asking us a lot of questions. I said, Jack, I want to ask you a question. At Walmart and at Sam's, we talk about leadership all the time. I would like to know what you think are the most important characteristics of a good leader in your organization. And I'd like to share those with you. The first and foremost, he said the leader has to set a vision. He's got to set the vision of what he wants to do. The next one he said was, you got to be able to simply express this vision and have exposure to the troops out there. I think sometimes we make our business too complicated, or we try to make it too complicated. The one thing I like about being in the Sam's operation is that it's not that difficult of a business if you execute it the way we talk about doing it. Give the customer something that brings value to the membership, which is something Joe's talking about all the time. Treat them right, but simply express to them, this is what we're trying to do.
Qualities of leadership. And these are some characteristics that you will find that are common in people that are good leaders. Number one, they have the ability to relate to people. Now, Jeff, that may be through work, maybe through hobbies, maybe through personal issues, but you have the ability to relate to people. You also have to have the ability to relate to people from a standpoint of understanding what motivates individuals. If you can't relate to people, you can't motivate them. And if you can't motivate people, they will not follow. It's that simple. The second piece is vision. You clearly have to see the big picture. And that could be for you yourself. It could be for your individual teams. It could also be for the whole company. But it's important that you have vision. And we've heard a lot about vision the last few days, which really leads me to my third point. You have to have the ability to communicate vision. You have to have the ability to communicate. For our head coaches the other day, we had the opportunity to come back and talk a little bit about vision. And if everyone will remember, and I'll try to paint a picture for those of you who weren't here, we had an individual that was sitting next to a raging river. And he was talking about vision. And he said, as you look at that, people have vision. Some people would just jump straight into the river. They may get across. They may end up way down the stream. And I hate to say it, some of them may even drown as they go through that. But the piece is, if we don't have clear communication, you cannot reach the vision. And it's important, as he came back and kind of moved down the riverbank, there was a rope that went from one side to the other. And as you looked at that, and I challenged the club managers to come back and say, there's our vision, here's where we're at, and the rope is how we're going to achieve it. It's important that you understand how to communicate. Get your people to understand. Paint the picture for them. The fourth piece is the ability to develop trust. You, as a leader, must exhibit the same level of integrity that you expect from your people. That's a fair thing to ask, isn't it? You have to exhibit that same level of integrity that you expect of your people. Also, along with that, make sure you provide honest feedback. People want to know how they're doing. Sometimes, Don Nickens, sometimes that's tough to tell them, but we have to be honest. Give them honest feedback. Reinforce what they do good. And if it's wrong, let's say, hey, you're not bad. The behavior's not good. And this is what we're going to do to fix it. And then come together and fix it together. Ability to develop trust. Last point, I'm going to build on this a little bit, but a working knowledge of the business.
So let's talk about how to be a real success. Let's take the word real, R-E-A-L. Let's take the first letter R, first of all. Now, if you want to be successful in your organization, the first thing you need is relationship skills. That's what the letter R stands for. This will be so easy for you. At the end of this session, you'll be able to remember the 4 keys to success. Now, all I'm saying is very simple. If you're going to be successful in any organization, in any business, what you have to do is you have to have the ability to relate well with people. No matter how smart you are, no matter how quick you are, no matter how fast you are, no matter how well located you are, it doesn't really matter. If you do not get along well with people, if people don't like you, your business won't grow. The second key to success. First one, the ability to get along with people. The second key to success, okay, the letter R, relationships. The letter E stands for equipping. I have never known anyone that was successful that did not spend time pouring their life into others and equipping others. Celia was telling me, I believe it was Celia today, told me that you promote about 60% within the organization. Here's what I know. I know that you'll never be successful unless you have the ability to reproduce others under you. Leaders never put themselves so far ahead of the people that they're developing them. Here's the way this works. If you're one step ahead of the crowd, you get to be a leader. If you're 10 steps ahead, you're the martyr. And your goal is to be the leader. I wish I had time to talk about that. Let's talk about the letter A. Relationship skills, equipping skills, the ability to get people. The letter A is attitude tenacity. Attitude tenacity, which is nothing more than the ability to get back up. The letter L in the word real. Relationship skills, equipping skills, attitude tenacity, and the letter L stands for leadership skills. Your ability to lead people. Everything rises and falls on leadership. You say, John, what do you mean? Everything rises and falls on leadership. Very simply. Everything rises and falls on leadership. You don't have a problem in a Sam's Club that can't be fixed with a good leader. And if you don't have a good leader, doesn't matter what your culture is, doesn't matter what your priorities would be, if you don't have good leadership, it won't go well. Everything rises and falls on leadership.
And so here we have Paralympic Games, which occur right after the regular Olympics. And my first one was 1988 Seoul, Korea. Now, this is the ultimate. You train, you get ready, you sweat it out. This is what life is all about. Athletic competition for an athlete. And there I was in Seoul, Korea, the stadium packed. Now, the high jump, I didn't medal in. That was okay. There was others out there, believe it or not, that jumped 6 feet, 3, 4, 5. The highest I ever jumped was 6 feet with one leg. That's all I could do. That's the best from the U.S. perspective for an amputee, but not in the world. But they had the 100-meter race ready, and I was ready. And there I was, my mom in the stand, Seoul, Korea, cheering me on. The gun goes off, bam, Al Meads off the starting block. And I got a good jump too. I just felt that medal all the way from the starting line. It had my name on it, Al Mead, gold medal, Paralympic Games. 15 meters down the way, my leg breaks. Can you imagine the big show and your leg breaks? And then my mom comes down from the stands and she hugs me and she said, oh, you're still my baby. You're still my winner. I'm like, come on, Mom, forget the mushy stuff. I wanted the gold medal. But she was sincere. But I was, athlete fervor. And so she got serious and said, did you prepare? You got the long jump left. She said, did you prepare for it? I said, yes, I did. She said, did you train hard? I said, yes, I did. She said, I don't know if this is news to you, but the long jump, all you need is one good jump. Everybody say, one good jump. All you need is one good jump. Abraham Lincoln, another quote he says, I'll get ready, I'll study, and be prepared for my opportunity when it comes. And this was an opportunity for me, my last opportunity to leave Seoul, Korea with the gold medal. And there I was in the long jump competition, hopping it, skipping it, and I made the cut for the first round, and here comes the second round, and the third jump, the same Canadian that jumped 6 feet 8 inches, broke the world record in the long jump. And when you get yourself in a situation like that, at least me, I get real spiritual. I said, now, God, you brought me all the way over here to Seoul, Korea, after all this training, and my leg breaks in 100-meter, and this guy breaks the world record in the long jump. But it was Harriet Beecher Stowe who says, when you find yourself and you're back against the wall, and you can't seem to hold on a minute longer, everything's going against you, don't give up then, because that's a time and a place where the tide will turn. And what I did was hop skip like I never hop skipped before down that runway, and I popped that bar as if I was jumping over the sand pit. And that one good jump resulted in the world record, long jump, gold medal, Seoul, Korea. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what you get. This is the type of experience you'll achieve. Yes. This is it. Gold medal achievement.
I want to know how many of you will do something different because of Al Mead's speech last night. I wonder how many of you. That's okay, don't raise your hands, because I want you to think about it in your mind and in your heart. How many of you will do something? You see, Al Mead was not here to entertain us last night. Now, he was entertaining and all the rest. He didn't come here to entertain you and I. He came to help us. He came to help us. He came to help you. But it's kind of like electricity. You know, there's a lot of power there, but until you take the plug and plug it in, you can't make use of it. How many of you are going to plug in? How many of you are going to take the lead? How many of you are going to make the change that's necessary for you to become all that you can become this next year?
No leader is successful without a passion. They have to have that passion to achieve the goal. Passion is what allows an average leader to take the lead. It's the edge you need to beat an opponent who may be more talented, they may be better equipped, stronger, bigger, faster. Without passion, you will not finish. And I would tell you, even if you have great vision, even if you have the ability to communicate and relate, even if you have good working knowledge, even if you have the trust of your team, and even if you have confidence in your ability, you must have a passion about your business. As you can see that quote there, some people in positions of leadership fail to succeed because they don't care enough to passionately pursue the goal. I'd ask you today, we talked about it the very first meeting we got together. Is operational excellence a passion of yours? If it isn't, I guarantee you we will see that in your club. If you don't care about the way you merchandise in your building, we will see that in sales, in the standards, and the merchandising of your club. If you don't have a passion about servicing your members, we'll continue to have some of the same results that Celia talked about as we look at renewals. And if taking care of your people is a low priority, they will respond with low performance. Question might be, will they even follow it all? We owe that to our partners. We owe that to our members to have that passion. You, each one of you, have to believe in what you're doing more than anybody else. Because if you don't believe in it, your people won't believe in it. Each of you have to understand that. The other thing I would tell you, it's not just enough to know in your head what it is you want to accomplish it. You also have to feel it in your heart. Right in here. You have to feel it in your heart. Passionate, successful leaders listen to their heart and are not afraid to let their people know. They're not afraid to let their people understand how passionate they are in their heart. Now I'm going to finish up here with 4 basic pieces I really want to leave you with. Your heart is a light that your people will see and be willing to follow. Passion is the fuel you use to keep them motivated. Vision is how you know where you are. And the last piece is achieving the goals of the team is your reward. Thank you.